Released in 2009, Up is one of the greatest films Pixar has ever made, and in 2023, LEGO released an official set of the house and it's simply amazing. The house itself is extremely faithful without being oversized, and the figures are as great as they could possibly be. I have seen quite a few people upset that the set didn't come with a Kevin figure, which is fair enough, but considering the price of LEGO dinosaurs, a new exclusive Kevin would probably have added another $20 to the total cost. But with that said, as we turn the house around, it starts to slim down quite a bit. The living room is still fairly spacious with a lot of detail, but the hallway especially has barely any space. So let's fix this by giving it a back. A ton of people have already made designs to complete the house since it released, but the design I decided to use is this clip-on version by Rykfield on Rebrickable. And if you want to add a back to your own set, I'll leave a link to this in the description. It both looks and feels very similar to the official set, and it simply clips onto the chimney using Technic pins, which means it's strong enough to lift up and make it fly. Glazing aside, after building this, I understand why LEGO decided to slice the house in half. Getting the pieces for this cost me over $40, not including the ones I already had. So if LEGO had made a complete house, the set would have cost over $100. Now while the outside looks great, the inside was left empty. So let's start work on the interior. My first thought was to add Ellie's chair next to Carl's, but in order for everything to fit properly, the living room needs to be bigger, which means the entire house would have to be scaled up. What I did instead was first remove this green tile behind the chimney and lay down this azure and turquoise carpet. I then moved over the flower pot from the entrance, and in the other corner I added this small table for Carl to eat at since the house is too small for a dining room. I then added these tiny shelves, and next to the chimney I built this coffee table and added the TV from the attic. Over in the hallway, I added this small table and moved over the portrait of Ellie, as well as the Paradise Falls money jar. Finally, on the second floor, I made this bedside table next to the bed and added an alarm clock just like we see it in the film. Now I do still have this big empty attic space next to the bedroom, so if you have any ideas on what to put in here, leave them in the comments below. With that, the house itself is complete all around, but we're not quite done just yet. Next up, we'll be building a foundation on a standard base plate so that the house can be placed alongside the modular buildings. I laid down a sidewalk and tiled off where the house will be going. After that, I fenced off the yard with these classic fence pieces and began tiling off the lawn. And to make it look like the grass is nicely trimmed, I used this checkered pattern of switching between tiles and plates, which gives the lawn a really nice texture. With that all laid out, I built up some foliage around the edges of the house, and this bit of the porch that got left behind. Over in this back corner, I added this helium tank from the set along with a balloon. Finally, I added the mailbox to the front, which if there is one gripe I have with the set, it is the lack of printing considering its importance in the film. Regardless, we can land the house on the lawn, and with that, we are officially done. Some of you might be a bit disappointed I didn't add more balloons since LEGO's version is way smaller than the movie, but frankly, I'm perfectly content with displaying this without the balloons since the house is still just as iconic even without them. Also, this many balloons would cost me over $300, and I'd rather afford rent. Regardless, I'm very happy with how this turned out, both inside out, and if you too enjoyed this, consider leaving a like and subscribing. But until next time, take care.